For years, the aftermath of a car crash was just a total mess of conflicting stories, right? A chaotic blur of he said, she said. But in the last decade or so, one little piece of technology has become probably the most important and totally impartial witness on the road. Yep, we are talking about the Dashcam. It's that moment every single driver dreads, that horrible sound of crunching metal. The shock hits you, and then the argument starts. You are positive you had the green light, but the other driver, they are absolutely certain they did. Your adrenaline is pumping, memories are getting fuzzy, so in that moment, who is anyone supposed to believe?
But what if there was a witness that just couldn't forget, a witness that couldn't get confused and had zero personal stake in what happened? One that saw exactly what went down and recorded it perfectly. Well, there is, and it's probably mounted right on your windshield.
Okay, so let's dive into what makes this little gadget so revolutionary. Because it's not just a camera, it's really an objective data recorder for all the chaos that can happen on the road. This right here is the absolute core of its power. A dashcam doesn't rely on human memory, which, let's be honest, can be really faulty, especially when you're stressed out. It just records the facts. It creates a perfect record that doesn't fade or, change its story over time.
And it's incredible how much data we're really talking about here. This is so much more than just a simple video. You're getting precise timestamps, GPS data that pinpoints your exact location, and even your speed laid right over the video. A lot of modern dashcams even have accelerometers that record G-force, showing how severe an impact was and from what angle. And then you add in parking mode, and your car's protected even when you're not in it. It's a whole evidence package in one tiny device.
So, we've got a handle on what a dashcam is. Now let's look at how it actually performs out there in the real world. This is where it goes from being a cool gadget to an absolutely essential tool for every driver. This is probably the most common argument out there, right? One person's word against another's. But when you have clear, undeniable footage showing the traffic lights at the exact moment of impact, the argument is just over. The dispute literally evaporates, and it's replaced by cold, hard fact.
And here's another classic. The lane change disagreement. Who drifted where? Again, that forward-facing camera gives you the driver's perspective, showing the lane markings, the position of both cars, everything in those critical seconds before the crash. There's just no room for debate. And this is where it makes a huge difference in your life. When you can just show an insurance company undeniable proof that their client was at fault, well, they don't really have a leg to stand on to fight the claim. What that means for you is a process that could have dragged on for months or even years can become a simple, straightforward settlement.
Okay, so you have a dashcam, and it happened. You've just been in an accident. What do you do now? Because having the footage is one thing. Knowing how to actually use it is something else entirely. This is your playbook.
This is so critical, and you have to act fast. Most dashcams record on a loop, which means they will eventually record right over the old footage. So the second an incident happens, you have to do something. Hit that lock button if you know how. If you're not sure, the safest bet is to just turn off the camera and pop out the memory card. Then, as soon as you possibly can, back that file up and get it to your legal representative.
Now, what if the other driver has a camera? Well, you have rights here. First thing, ask them at the scene to save the footage. They probably won't just hand it over if it shows they're at fault, but making a note that it exists is key. Your solicitor can then send a formal request. And if they still refuse, the courts actually have the power to order them to produce it as evidence.
So far, we've really been focused on the power of the dashcam, but it's also really important to understand the whole picture, and that includes its limitations.
While the footage is incredibly persuasive, you have to remember it's not some magic bullet that automatically solves every single case. We just have to be realistic about what it can do and what it can't.
For instance, a camera only sees what's in front of it, right? It's not going to capture what happens to the side or behind you unless you have a multi-camera setup. Glare from the sun, pouring rain, or even just a dirty windshield can mess up the details. And while it's pretty rare, technical glitches with GPS or timestamps can happen, and footage can be edited, which is why having that original, untouched file is so important.
The best way to think about your dashcam footage is as the cornerstone of your evidence. It is an incredibly strong piece, but it's at its most powerful when it's part of the complete picture. It works together with witness statements, police reports, and medical evidence to build a case that's just undeniable.
So, to make sure your silent witness is actually ready to speak up for you, here are 3 super simple things you can do. 1. Make sure the date and time are set correctly. 2. every once in a while, just check that it's actually recording. And 3, practice hitting that lock button, so if the worst happens, you know exactly what to do without even thinking about it. Ultimately, this small device does way more than just record your drive. It gives you peace of mind, it protects you from false claims, and it makes sure that when something does happen, the truth is right there for everyone to see. So, the only question left is your unblinking witness ready for duty?